Let's start. Threats in puzzle position are: rook takes bishop, queen takes rook, check. Queen takes bishop, check. Here are checks in puzzle position. Queen takes rook, check. Queen takes bishop, check. Answer to this puzzle is: queen takes rook, check. Queen to d1. Queen takes queen, check. King takes queen. Rook to e5. Knight to h6, check. Pawn takes knight. Next puzzle, the threats are: queen takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Here are checks in puzzle position. d6, check. Solution to the puzzle is: d6, check. King to a7. d7. Queen to d6. Queen to e8. Let's continue. Puzzle position vulnerabilities are: knight takes pawn. Queen takes rook, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Rook takes pawn. Let us look at checks in puzzle position. Queen to g7, check. Queen takes rook, check. Queen to h7, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Here is the solution to the puzzle. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen to h7. Queen takes pawn, check. Rook to g7. Queen takes pawn. Rook to e8. Queen takes pawn. Rook takes knight. Rook to f8, check. Queen to g8. Rook takes queen, check. Next, the threats are: knight takes knight. Bishop takes pawn. Knight takes pawn. Queen takes knight. There are no checks in this position. Solution to the puzzle is: before. Queen takes pawn. Knight takes knight. Next, the threats are: bishop takes pawn. Queen takes knight. Queen takes knight. Bishop takes knight. Pawn takes knight. Let us look at checks in puzzle position. Queen to g7, check. Queen to h8, check. Solution to the puzzle is: bishop to b2. Queen to e5. Queen takes queen. Rook takes queen. Bishop takes rook. Let us go to the next puzzle. Here are the threats. Rook takes pawn. Pawn takes bishop. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn. Let us look at checks in puzzle position. Bishop to b6, check. Queen takes pawn, check. The puzzle is solved using pawn takes bishop. Another puzzle. Puzzle position vulnerabilities are: there are no threats in this position. There are no checks in this position. The answer is: before. King to d6. c3. King to e6. King to c5. King to e5. King to b6. King to e4. King takes pawn. Let's continue. The threats are: bishop takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Checks in puzzle position are: queen to b3, check. Answer to this puzzle is: queen to b3, check. King to h8. Queen to f7. Queen to d6. Rook takes queen. One more. The threats are: rook takes bishop. Queen takes pawn. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen takes queen. Bishop takes pawn. Checks in puzzle position are: rook to e1, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen to d1, check. Answer to this puzzle is: rook takes bishop. Another puzzle. Threats in this position are: bishop takes knight, check. Bishop takes knight. Bishop takes pawn. Knight takes pawn. Checks in this position are: bishop takes knight, check. The answer is: bishop takes knight. Rook takes bishop. Knight to e5. One more. Threats in puzzle position are: pawn takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Here are the checks. Queen to h2, check. Queen to e1, check. Solution to the puzzle is: queen to h2, check. King to f1. Queen to h1, checkmate. Another puzzle. The threats are: there are no threats in this position. There are no checks in this position. Solution to the puzzle is: king to e3, a5, b3. Another one. The threats are: there are no threats in this position. Checks in puzzle position are: queen to e4, check. Queen to b5, check. Queen to b3, check. Queen to b1, check. Queen to a6, check. The answer is: h3, b6. Queen to a6, check. King to c3. Queen takes pawn. One more, let us look at threats in puzzle position. Bishop takes pawn. Checks in puzzle position are. Rook to c1, check. The puzzle is solved using bishop to d4, king to f2, rook to e8. Let's continue. Threats in puzzle position are. Queen takes knight. Rook takes rook, check. Let us look at checks in puzzle position. Rook takes rook, check. Solution to the puzzle is. Rook takes rook, check. Knight takes rook. Queen to b1. g4. Queen takes knight, check. One more, the threats are. Rook takes pawn. Checks in this position are. Rook to f4, check. Rook to e3, check. The best move in puzzle position is. h3. Rook to e8. Rook takes pawn. Rook to g8, check. King to h4. Another puzzle. Here are threats in puzzle position. Rook takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Bishop takes knight. Here are checks in puzzle position. Rook takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn, check. The answer is. Rook to g4. Knight takes pawn. Bishop takes knight. Next puzzle, let us look at threats in puzzle position. Queen takes pawn. Rook takes pawn. Bishop takes pawn. Bishop takes knight. There are no checks in this position. Answer to this puzzle is. f5. Queen takes pawn. Pawn takes knight. Another puzzle. The threats are. Rook takes pawn. There are no checks in this position. The answer is. d3. Pawn takes pawn. Rook to c1, check. King to b2. Rook takes knight. Another puzzle. Puzzle position vulnerabilities are. Rook takes pawn. Rook takes knight. Bishop takes pawn. King takes rook. There are no checks in this position. Answer to this puzzle is. Rook takes knight. Queen to f7, check. Rook to f3. Rook takes rook, check. Pawn takes rook. Let us go to the next puzzle. Puzzle position vulnerabilities are. There are no threats in this position. There are no checks in this position. Here is the solution to the puzzle. King to f3. Rook to f8. Rook to h2. King to h5. Rook to g2. Let's continue. Threats in puzzle position are. Queen takes bishop. Queen takes pawn. Bishop takes pawn. Bishop takes pawn, check. Let us look at checks in puzzle position. Bishop takes pawn, check. Here is the solution to the puzzle. Bishop takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Queen takes queen. Bishop takes queen. Rook to c1. Bishop to e6. Bishop takes rook. Next, threats in puzzle position are. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen takes pawn. Queen takes knight. Queen takes pawn. Queen takes pawn. Bishop takes pawn, check. Here are the checks. Queen to d8, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Queen to g7, check. Queen to h8, check. Queen takes pawn, check. Bishop takes pawn, check. Solution to the puzzle is. Knight to c6. King to h7. Knight to e7. Queen to a8. Queen takes pawn, check. Another puzzle. Threats in puzzle position are. Bishop takes pawn, check. Rook takes pawn. Here are checks in puzzle position. Bishop takes pawn, check. Rook to d2, check. Rook to b1, check. Rook to d2, check. Here is the solution to the puzzle. Rook to a2. Bishop to b1. Rook to a1. King to c1. Bishop to f5. c7, check. King to e7. Rook to e1, check. King to d7. One more, let us look at threats in puzzle position. Rook takes rook, check. Queen takes bishop. Queen takes knight. Bishop takes knight. Bishop takes pawn, check. Let us look at checks in puzzle position. Rook takes rook, check. Bishop takes pawn, check. The answer is. Rook takes rook, check. Queen takes rook. Queen takes knight. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.